Hello. As you know, I'm not in the classroom today, so I'm leaving this video in which I will give you a few examples on how to work on the assignment that I left for you today. I will leave the answer key so you can check your answers, okay? And the assignment is about adding and subtracting fractions. Now, this will be very important for when we start working with slopes of lines, okay? So, for example 1, let's say we are asked to subtract 3/8 from 7/8. So that's 7/8 minus 3/8. Now, notice right away that they have the same denominator, okay? So they have same denominator, which means in math they have a common denominator, okay? So if that's the case, whenever you see that happening in a problem, it's very simple. So then all you do is you do 7 minus 3, and since they both have an 8, that means that stays the same, okay? So it's 7 minus 3/8 because they have a common denominator, which is 8. Then you just subtract the 3 from 7, so 7 minus 3 gives you 4/8. Now this simplifies even more because 4 goes into 8 twice, okay? It goes into 8 twice, so that means that this 4 becomes 1 and that 8 is 2, okay? So this is reduced. I'm okay if you get this far, but this is good, but this is better, okay? Especially for geometry. All right, so on to another example. Let's say in the following example, we are given the following mixed number. Okay, so we have 7 minus 1/7. Now notice that this is not a fraction, that's a whole number, and this is a fraction. Now, so they are, we can write that 7 as a fraction, which is write a 1 under it, and that's still 7 because 7 divided by 1 is 7, okay? So let me just write down these two fractions don't have the same denominator. Okay, well, what are we doing in this case? Well, this is a 7, and you're trying to get a 7 under this one. So that means you're going to have to multiply this here by 7, so you get a 7 as in the denominator of this a fraction here. So let's do that. So this will be the parentheses, and this is 7/1, and this one here stays the same. So this is 1/7. Okay, so we need a 7 under this one, so in order to get a 7, we need to multiply the numerator and the denominator by 7. Now, 7 times 7 is 49, and 7 times 1 is 7. Now this stays the same, and now we can subtract 1/7 from 49/7. Okay, so then we do the same as we did here. 49 minus 1, just like this one here, that gives you 48/7, and this, I'm going to accept it for this class purpose the way it is. It's an improper fraction, but when we get into slopes, this is how you need to keep the slope, okay? Because this here about the slope tells you the rise over the run, okay? So, and that's slope, which you have also seen as m. Okay, real quick, remember the equation in slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. So the slope, that's the m part. So that's what I want you to understand for now. So this gives you rise over run. So the rise will be 48 and the run will be 7. It'll make more sense once we start working on the problems that are going to involve slope. I'm going to give you one more example. Okay, so example 3. And for this one, let's say we have 1/5 minus, and we have a negative inside a parenthesis, so negative 9/5. Okay, now notice you have a negative in front of a negative, and you have that negative inside a parenthesis. So negative and negative becomes positive. That's from algebra. Okay, so plus, instead of minus, a negative now becomes positive, because don't forget there is a negative 1 in front of the parenthesis. So negative 1 times negative this becomes positive. So this is 9/5. And now we can combine, because we don't have the negatives anymore. Okay, so then this is 1 plus 9, that's 10, and they have the same denominator, so that's 5, and 10 divided by 5 is 2. So that's what I'm leaving in the classroom with you. And I'm sorry you couldn't see that, but as you can see, I hope you follow it here. Okay, and this is the result, and when you divide 10 by 5, you get 2. And you will not be able to use a calculator for this one, but I hope this is simple enough so you can do it without a calculator. And if you have any questions, I'll answer any questions tomorrow when you come to class, okay? All right, have a great day. Bye-bye. Hello. As you know, I am not in the classroom, and I told you guys yesterday that I was going to be absent. Okay, so I'm leaving a couple of examples that are going to help you work on today's assignment, and hopefully you guys will be okay. If not, don't worry, I'll be back tomorrow to help you with any questions you might have. Okay, so let's say we're given the following problem. So we have 8 equals, let's say, x over 3 plus 6. Notice that you have 2 whole numbers, and this is a fraction. Now, how would you solve this equation? You do it the same way you would do 8 plus 6, and 8 equals 6 plus, let's say, x. Okay, so you would subtract 6 from both sides, and you'll find that x is 2. Well, in this case, that doesn't change. There's just one more step, okay? These are 2-step equations. So what you would do is subtract 6 from both sides. So this cancels, and then we have 8 minus 2. That's, 8 minus 6. That leaves us with 2. And this stays as x over 3. Now, you have done proportions before, and hopefully you remember, you just write a 1 under that 2, and then you can work the problem out as a proportion. So you cross multiply. Okay, and 1 times x is 1x, which is x by itself, and 2 times 3, that's 6. Okay, and that's it for that problem. Another example that I'm leaving for you is example 2. Okay, what if we have x plus 5 over 3 equals 2? Now notice again, we have this here, we have x plus 5 over 3 equals 2. How do we work this one out? I hope you might see that there's a little bit of a difference between this problem and the problem here, the first problem. But you work it out the same. I'm going to point out to this one here. Okay, so think of how we did this one. Notice that we have a 2, then you do the same thing that we did here. We divide that 2 by 1, and then we solve it as a proportion. okay? And we're going to use the distributive property because we're going to distribute 1 to the x. So 1 times x is x, and 1 times 5 is 5. That 5 is positive, so it stays positive. And then 3 times 2 is 6. Okay, now we solve the equation. So minus 5 on both sides, and we find that x equals 1. Okay, again, hopefully that's not too complicated for you. Again, I will be in class tomorrow. I'll be back. So if you have any questions about how to solve these type of equations, then make sure you ask those questions in the classroom. Okay. All right. I'll see you tomorrow. Have a great day. Bye bye.